Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. I wanted to jump on here. Some of you know me, some of you don't. For those of you who are just coming here, my name is Hasna Abdul Majid, and I am passionate about building bridges between ideas, between philosophies, and people for the purpose of raising the vibration of the collective. So, this is not my set intro, but it's just what I'm saying at this moment. I'm also a strong proponent of rawness and realness and authenticity and striving to recognize all the parts of ourselves so that we can integrate into wholeness. So, on that vein, or in that vein, I wanted to talk a little bit today about admitting our weakness does not negate our strength. In fact, it makes us stronger. This is incredibly important for myself, and I've seen that it's important for others because we can be our worst critic, we can be our worst enemy. And if we recognize this fact, if we recognize that there are different parts to ourselves, there's different parts to me, to Hasna, there's different parts to you. If you recognize that you may have different archetypes that are complete personalities in and of themselves within you, if you recognize that, then with that, if you recognize that, then what happens? What happens? If you recognize that in yourself, if you see this as a truth in your own reality, in my experience, it will assist in recognizing patterns that may be destructive, patterns that may be beneficial, and knowing, well, who does that pattern belong to? I just finished eating 2 bags of chips. I have been doing very well, very well. I don't think I bought anything processed I generally don't choose to buy processed food, but there have been times, if it's maybe a candy or something like that. Chips are processed food. If you're not making them homemade, if you're not buying one that is, organic, sliced, baked a certain way, then they're processed. And I know better. And I was eating with no consciousness. I was conscious of me not eating consciously as I'm, just crunching down on these chips. This is important because I've already identified that I have a child that feels, can feel abandonment. I have different archetypes, and one of them is a child that's wounded, that doesn't want to be abandoned, that is sensitive, that can get hurt easily. And she soothes herself through food and other forms of enjoyment and entertainment. So, but food is primary. And I had just had a conversation where there was a lot of intensity coming up, and I had to hold the space as a nurturer with a client. I had to hold the space, and I also had to recognize that I could do better. My strength is not in certain aspects, such as my scheduling, and I realize that's something to improve on. I had a lot going on just in the past 2.5 weeks, and that affected my communication with my clients. So while I would say to them, I will get back to you, if a week goes by or a week and a half goes by and they would like to see me regularly, or they've invested in a package, it makes sense that some are okay. They're like, oh yeah, I'll see you when I see you, because that's their flow. But I will, and I do now have clients that they do have to schedule 2 weeks in advance. So I've always said I'm not a businesswoman, but in some sense, maybe that's a disservice. I have to actually show up as a businesswoman and think of how a businesswoman handles things, because it is a business, whether I want to see it that way or not. So having an exchange that was a bit difficult, and having to be humble and admit, yes, I'm not perfect and I'm working on myself and I am intending to do better. And I do see how you might have felt neglected, or I do see how you might have felt like 2 days to get back to you was too long. For me, I don't mind that. I feel like whenever something is aligning and it flows, it will come to me. And not everyone is the same. And so part of my growth is recognizing that just because someone aligns to be with my service, it doesn't necessitate that they are like me. They may be very different. And the beauty of that is helping me to grow. So I am choosing to look at these situations as a place of growth. But the point is that even though I had to hold the space as a mature person that I am in various aspects, as a nurturer, as someone who holistically will bring guidance in that moment, the medicine of the moment, I still had to deal with the inner child that then felt she needed to soothe herself. And what did I do? I go to the store to do one thing, and then next thing I'm getting chips, and next thing I'm eating chips that have preservatives in them, that have sodium, too much sodium that I do not need, that essentially just are not with the plan, of what I know is best for me. And so it's an opportunity, because even when I was purchasing them, I'm like, Hasna, why are you buying these? This is not what you need right now, especially in the morning also. So I was using it to somehow, I would say, medicate. I was using it as a way to like crunch on something, like get some of the tension out, I think. And a lot of people like chips for that reason. I hardly buy chips. In a year, I mean, maybe 3-4 times maximum. So it's a learning process. And recognizing and admitting I have weaknesses. I have aspects of me that are needing growth, needing development, that need to see themselves for what they are. But then I have other sides that are strong and that are powerful and that are cognizant and aware and able to hold that space for others. So the beauty that I'm coming across is recognizing with so much more clarity the different parts of myself, and being able to see when that other part comes through and how that other part handles different matters. So it's also interesting to come across people who are healers themselves and will admit that they need healing. I had someone recently who told me, I'm a trauma release specialist and I need to release from trauma. And that just put so much softness in my heart when I see that someone can admit that and they can just be real, not put themselves on a pedestal. But him admitting his weakness or admitting the area that needs work, it doesn't negate that he's good at his work. And that's another thing that we have to realize. No one has it all together. People can give you the the perspective. Like, they can give you the face, they can give you the story, the pictures, the video. They can, I could have made a video about this same subject and not put myself in it at all. It could have just been, yes, we must recognize the parts of ourselves and the wholeness. And there would be nothing wrong if I did that. It's okay if I don't want to put my personal self into everything. It just so happens that I learned through my experiences, and I know that the human experience is shared. So if I myself am going through a process in a certain way, there's a thread of connection that someone else has experienced, is experiencing, or will experience. It may not be as exactly I describe it, but if you to sit and ponder just a little bit, you'll see that underlying thread. And you'll see and feel where it can be applicable in your life. So, yes, I'm grateful for the times of tension. I'm grateful for the times of misunderstandings that lead to greater understanding and expansion. And I'm grateful for you who are watching this right now, who are taking precious time, because we will never get this time back. And you're using it to listen. So if anything at all resonated, if there's anything that wasn't so clear that you'd like me to elaborate on, perhaps in a future video, then feel free to message me and let me know that. Leave something in the comments below. If this is uploaded to YouTube, then by all means, like, subscribe, and leave me some love. All right. Peace.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم